So Knafeh is a traditional Arabic dessert that can be found all over the Middle East in very different forms.
And usually it's made with flaky dough and soft cheese, and then it's topped with rosewater or orange sugar syrup and pistachios.
Yes.
Okay, so what is the origin of Knafeh?
So Knafeh originates from the 10th to 15th century. They're not exactly sure when exactly, but around that time. And it comes from the Circassian word chinafa, which means bulbul color.
And the bulbul is a songbird that's found throughout the Middle East and Turkey. And the dough of Knafeh is often colored with orange food coloring that gives it this bright, reddish color that imitates the underside of the bulbul. Okay, so one of the most popular Knafeh preparations is the Knafeh Nabluse, and it has origins in the Palestinian city of Nablus. And it's the country's most iconic dessert. And since we're so close to Palestine, that's the type of Knafeh that we eat the most.
And it's usually made with a white cheese, and so sometimes it's a mix between goat or sheep and cow, and so it's this really good type of cheese from Nablus, and it's known as Nablus.
So despite Knafeh originating in Syria, Nablus in Palestine is often considered the cradle of Knafeh.
And so Knafeh has a lot of salient roles among the people of these countries. So for example, it's a symbol of goodwill after a conflict has been resolved, and it's also prepared during moments of sadness and grief, like when someone dies. And it's also prepared during happier times as a sign of admiration for someone when they achieve or reach a really important milestone in their life.
Exactly. So, according to many stories and legends, Knafeh was invented in the Syrian city of Damascus in the 7th century under the Umayyad dynasty's first caliph. It's said that he'd usually ask his cook to make the dish that was great or rich enough for the Ramadan fasting period.
And also, some traces of the older version of Knafeh are from the 13th century, and they were seen as medieval Andalusian cookbook that's called Kitab al-Tabikh, and one of the recipes found is for Knafeh, which is their version of it was a thin crepe stuffed with cheese, which is then baked with honey or syrup, similar to our Knafeh. So in some places, Knafeh is referred to as Knafeh jibne, and so this makes sense because jibne is the Arabic word for cheese, and Knafeh literally has a lot of cheese in it.
Yes. So there's two different types of Knafeh. There's kishne, and it's rougher and topped with crunchy bits of kataifi, which is a pastry made from shredded phyllo dough. And then there's also na'ameh, which is smooth and topped with farke, which is ground semolina dough.
And there's many regional variations, and these alter the types of cheeses, like the Nablus cheese from Palestine. In some places, they even replace the cheese entirely with cream or custard.
Doesn't sound good, but we're biased. Okay, so as we mentioned before, Knafeh is different in different regions. So in Lebanon, it's referred to as Knafeh bi-jibin, and its ingredients are wheat semolina and mozzarella that's been bathing in a syrup of orange blossom, sugar syrup, I guess. And also in Lebanon, it's very common to eat Knafeh for breakfast alongside sesame seed kake, which is a traditional style bread roll, and you usually dip it in your tea.
Yeah. And so in Turkey, it's a little bit different. It's usually seen as a smaller candy baked in this small metal bowl, and you can even see it made the Turkish style here. It's still very common. And this recipe instead uses a different kind of cheese instead of the Nablus or the akawi. I think akawi, right?
Yeah.
And so it's the Turkish cheese is called dil piniri. And sorry if my pronunciation is wrong. And it's a Turkish cheese made by using stringy, unsalted sheep and cow milk. And so the Turkish people like having the Knafeh with whipped cream known as kayamak. Knafeh hard بالعربي.
هذه اسمها كنافه مبروم.
مبروم؟
كنافه مبروم جبنه تشيز.
Oh, and شو اسم كنافة هاد؟
هذه كنافه ناعمه
كنافة ناعمة؟
بالجبنه.
اوكي بالجنة. ايش المكونات؟ ايش المكونات؟
المكونات هذا طحين وعجل.
Okay. Okay. And بتفضل كنافة هاد ولا هاد؟ بتفضل like
تفضل.
هاد؟ كيف بتعملها؟
هذا تعملها يعني بجيب الصدر زي هذا، حط فيه السمنة، حط العجين، وبجيب الجبنة تشيز، حطه على النار خيار 7 دقائق 10 دقائق، بنزل الصدر، بجيب صدر ثاني ويقلبه وحلي على
okay. And بتحب الكنافة؟
كيف؟
بتحب الكنافة؟
عارفين؟
أنا كمان.
Okay. To date, Knafeh is eaten in so many households, it's almost a weekly tradition. Many like to eat it while playing a fun game of cards, smoking hookah, exchanging jokes, or just spending time with family.
And that said, it can be strongly concluded that Knafeh is one of those traditional desserts with like the power to excite whoever gets a taste of it. And like it doesn't matter like what someone's social status, religion, age, nationality is. As seen, like it's from so many different countries. Knafeh can be shared with like people whoever like just get a taste of it. And every single serving of Knafeh is like a celebration of life, love, and unity.